Okay, Friday 8th of November 2013, the calculator paper. This is for Red Excel. Question number 1. Use your calculator to work out the value of this. I'll zoom in so you can see it. What you've got to do is work out the top bit with your calculator, the square root of 7,056, which is 84. 0.35 times 12.8 is that. And do the division and you get 18.75, which is your answer. Put your answer correct to one significant figure. A lot of people put 19 for this. Obviously that's two significant figures. It should be 20 because it's in between 10 and 20, but it's nearer to 20, and there's your one significant figure there, the 2. Pavel and Katie share some sweets in the ratio of 3 to 8. Katie gets 32. How many does Pavel get? Right, 32 belongs to this 8. So 8 parts is 32 sweets. So what I do is divide 8 by 8 to get down to 1 part. So 32 divided by 8 is 4. So 1 part is 4 sweets. So if Katie gets 3 parts, 3 fours are 12. So she gets 12 sweets. Katie also has a tin of chocolates. She's going to get fat. There's 80 chocolates in the tin. 45% of toffee in the middle. Work out the number that have toffee in the middle. 45% of 80. Because it's a calculator paper, there's your multiplier, 0.45. 45% is a decimal. Times 80 equals 36. Question number 3. Very nasty question I found for question 3, but we'll go through it. There's some counters in a bag. 3 are red, 7 are blue, and the rest are yellow. Bill takes a random counter from the bag. The probability he takes a yellow one is 2 out of 7. How many counters are in the bag? Well, I worked out that because there's 3 red ones and 7 blue ones, that is 10. So that must equal 5/7. If there's a 2/7 chance of getting a yellow one, there must be a 5/7 chance of getting a red or a blue one. So 3 add 7 equals 5/7. So obviously that's 10 is 5/7. So what I've done to find 1/7 is to do 10 divided by 5, which gives me 2. So 1/7 is 2. So if 1/7 is 2, 7/7 or a whole would be 14. I thought that was a nasty question. If you've got an easier way or a better way of solving that one, please feel free to leave a comment. Question 4. Draw this view. You can see where the arrow is pointing. You've got to draw it. The base is 5. It goes up 2. Then here it goes up 3. I've drawn it here like this. I hope you can see it. Here's the base and here's the height. And I've just drawn a line there just to show that there is a bit of there's some depth to it there. But just the 5 by 5 box will be absolutely fine for 2 marks. Question number 5. Ben goes to Hong Kong on holiday, so it's a currency conversion question. This, he sees a camera costing 3,179.55 Hong Kong dollars, and in London it's cost £285. There's the exchange rate. So what I've done, I'll just zoom in a little bit, is to do £285 multiplied by the exchange rate, which gives you 3,505.50 Hong Kong dollars. That is obviously more expensive than how much it costs in Hong Kong, because that's the price for Hong Kong. So I've taken one away from the other, and that is the difference in Hong Kong dollars, 325.95. So I've given my answer in Hong Kong dollars, or I've converted it back to pounds and pence by dividing by 12.3, which is the conversion rate. It doesn't say what currency to give it in, so I've given it in both to be on the safe side. Question number 6. It's a two-way table. I'll just put it here and I'll zoom in so in case you want to see what it says there. There is the question. So there's 130 adults at the language school, and there's the details about it. I've drawn a two-way table. You'll notice above it says there's men and women. So obviously I've done men, women, and there's a total. And they study French, German, or Spanish, and there's the total. These ones here, these are the ones I put in. These are the ones it tells me in the question. And the ones in the boxes are the ones I've worked out for myself. The question says, how many of the adults study French? Adult French, the total is 19. So the answer is 19, and I put that down the bottom there. But I'll leave that there in case you want to have a look what I've done. Next question over the page. This is a Best Buy question. You've got to compare the prices of things. I'll briefly read it out to you. Plants are sold in 3 different sizes of tray. You get a small for 30 plants, a medium for 40 plants, and a large for 50 plants. The prices are £6.50, £8.95 and £10.99 respectively. I've worked out the price per plant. So for the small tray, it's £6.50 divided by 30 plants. There's the medium workings and there's the large workings, and here is how much it would cost per plant. You can look at those and see that the small tray gives the cheaper cost per plant. So small tray is best value. It's a functional question because it's got a star there, which means you must show clear workings. If you just write small tray, without anything else, you will not get any marks at all. Excuse me. The only other way you could do it, I think, is to multiply upwards. And I think 30, 40 and 50, and their lowest common multiple is actually 600. So you could work out how much it would cost us to buy 600 plants by multiplying the numbers up and compare that way. But I just think this way looked a lot simpler. Question number 8, find the nth term. Well, it's going up in 7s each time, so it's 7n. 7 times 1 is 7. How do you get back to 3? You take away 4. 7 2s are 10. Sorry, my bad. 7 2s are 14. And you take away 4 to get back to 10. So we know that works. That is the nth term. Is 150 a term in this sequence? You must explain your answer. I've shown that the 21st term is 143 and the 22nd term is indeed 150. So yes, it is the 22nd term. It is in the sequence. Next question, question 9. This is an angles one. Explain what you've got to do. You've got to find out angle A, which is there. So there's a few things you need to know, which I've written here. There's 360 degrees in a circle. So 360, take away 25, take away 25, take away 25, take away 25 is 260. So what we've done there is find the combined totals of this one, this one, this one, and this one. Obviously, you can see there's 4 of them. I want to find out what each one is. So 260 divided by 4 is 65. So this is the smaller angle in each rhombus. Because it's a rhombus, we know that this angle and this angle must be the same. So they are both 65, and this adds up to 130. Let me show you here. 65 and 65. There's 360 degrees in any quadrilateral, which is a 4-sided shape. So 360, take 65, or take 130 if you will, equals 230. So these two add up to 230, and because they're the same, you half it. So the answer you get is 115 degrees. Question number 10. Sasha gets 62 out of 80 in a music exam. What result does she get? Well, 62 out of 80 times 100 is 77.5%, which is a merit. So the answer is a merit. Please show your workings. So if you guess at that without showing your workings, they won't give you the marks because they think you've guessed it. All I've done is converted a fraction, 62 out of 80, to a percentage. And that's all I've done there. Then obviously you can read off the chart which one's which. Index laws. Simplify this. Let's zoom in so you can see the questions. Simplify. It is x to the 7 times x to the 3. When you're doing these ones, all you do is add the index numbers. So that will give you x to the 10. This question here, I've written out what it is. M to the power 4 to the power 3. So you've got m to the power 4 times itself 3 times. So that will give you m to the power, and you add the index numbers, so m to the power 12. Next one, simplify this one here. Looks a bit tricky, but it's just do it one bit at a time. I hope you can see all that. 36 divided by 12 is 3. A on its own, so that's a to the power 1 divided by a to the power 5. Because it's divide, you subtract the index numbers, which gives you a to the minus 4, and f to the power 8 divided by f to the power 2. 8 take away 2 is 6, so f to the power 6. So there is your complete answer. Question number 12, moving on. Circumference of a circle. I've actually drawn the circle out to make it a little bit clearer. Circle has a diameter of 140 centimetres, there it is. You need to know the formula for the circumference of a circle, which is pi times the diameter. So pi times 140, which is 439 and there's the workings. That's 1 mark. It does say give the answer correct to 3 significant figures. So you round this up to the nearest number, so you can have the 3 numbers. So it is actually 440. A lot of people get confused because they think 3 significant figures, noughts don't count. But in this case, that's the nearest number you can round it to, so that will count. So the answer is 440. Question number 13. This is quite a nasty one, I thought. There's lots of different ways of working it out. I use the speed, distance, time triangle. There's a road sign showing the distance to junction 8. It also shows the average time drivers will take to get there. So to junction 8 it's 30 miles. They reckon it's going to take 26 minutes. The speed limit on the motorway is 70 miles an hour. Will they get there on time? So is Lathina right? Because she thinks she's got to break the speed limit, so go faster than 70. Let's have a look. Speed is distance divided by time. So distance is 30 miles. It's the time bit you've got to be careful of, because you're talking here in miles per hour, but they give it to you in minutes. And you see I actually made a mistake there. To convert 26 minutes to hours, what you've got to do is to do 26 divided by 60. And I just kept it as a fraction, which is 13 over 30. I simplified it. You didn't have to. I chose to. So the speed is 30 divided by 13 over 30 equals 69.23 miles an hour. So Lathina is wrong. If you drive constantly at that speed, you will not have to break the speed limit, although I'd imagine that would, in reality, be very difficult to do. Next one, this is estimating mean of group data. Okay, modal class interval. Modal or mode means most common, so the most common class here is this one, 21, so the answer is 20 to 40, so I've done that. Right, calculate an estimate for the mean. The reason it's an estimate is you don't know how many temperatures. Well, you know there's 6 between 8 and 12, but you do not know if they're 10, if they're 9, or they're 11, or what they are. So we're going to pick a midpoint. So we're going to estimate if they're from 8 to 12, they're all 10. If they're from 12 to 16, they're probably 14. So you've got to pick your midpoints, which is what I've done here. Then you've got to multiply across, so frequency times midpoint, or F times M. There's my workings there. I'll let you see what I've done. It adds up to 920, and you notice it's for 50 days up there. So 920 divided by 50 is 18.4, and that is your answer. It's also a very reasonable answer, 18.4, because it is pretty much bang in the middle here anyway. If you've got an answer of something above 28 or below 8, for example, you know that must be wrong, because the answer is between 8 and 28. Question number 15. Draw a frequency polygon. There it is. The only trick is, because it's from 8 to 12, you've got to plot in the middle. So you plot at the midpoint, which is 10. 12 to 16, you plot at 14. Okay? And then connect them up, and that's all you've got to do for 2 marks. Question 15. It's just a relatively basic 3-mark Pythagoras question. I'll leave that there. That is 39, that's 70. I've labelled it A, B and C. A and B don't matter, C's got to be the long side. And I've shown my workings. I'll let you look through it. Square root when you get to this stage, so it's 80.1311, but it says it wants it to 1 decimal place, so it's 80.1 centimetres. A lot of students think that's a trigonometry question where they've got to use their sine, cos and tan. The clue is there's nothing mentioned about an angle here or here whatsoever. We're just talking about the 3 sides. So if it's the 3 sides with what we either know or want to know in a right angle triangle, it is Pythagoras. Question number 16 I've got here, because I made a mistake myself, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Right, a lot of people struggle with this sort of question. I'll zoom right in so you can see it. I hope it shows up on your screen. 5 brackets f minus 3 equals f add 10. A lot of people don't know where to start. Just multiply the brackets out. That's an E-grade skill, and I hope you should be okay with multiplying out brackets. If not, you're struggling on the higher paper, but there we go. So multiply the brackets out, you get 5f, take 15, equals f add 10. Now we've got to solve it and find out what f is. So that's what solve means, find out the value of f. Right, I don't like that negative 15, I'm going to get rid of it by adding 15 to both sides, so that leaves me with 5f over there, and f add 25 now, because 10 add 15 is 25. I want to get rid of that f, so I get the f's on one side, so I take f off both sides, so that gives me 4f equals 25. I want to get f on its own, so it's been multiplied by 4, so to undo that I divide by 4, so f equals 6.25, or 6 1/4, either is fine. Right, part B, and this is where I made a mistake, so I've had to go and do it again, but I'll tell you what I've done, but all this is spot on. Right, the trick here is like adding any fraction, you have got to get the bottom numbers the same. You cannot add that as it is, because we've got 3 at the bottom, and 2 at the bottom, so you need to get them the same. So what do 3 and 2 go up into? It's fairly obvious, it's 6, which works out really nicely because this is 6. So what I've done first is I've shown you how to get them both over 6. So this side of times by 2, this side of times by 3. So 3 times h minus 1 is 6h minus 3. In the mistake I call that 5h because of course I added, but you should always multiply. In case you don't know how to do 2h take 1 times 3, what you do is look at it like this. It's 3 brackets 2h minus 1. So you just multiply out that bracket. So that is 6h take 3, which is what we've got there. Simplify that, so that add all the h's, because now the bottom numbers are the same, we can add it together. So that is 8h add 11, because it's 14 take 3 is 11, and the 6 is fine. So we're now left with 8h add 11 equals 5 over 6. Because they're both over 6, they cancel, or do it properly, I can multiply both sides by 6, which gets rid of them, so it leaves me with 8h add 11 equals 5. Let's get the h's on their own. So take 11 off, gives you 8h equals minus 6. Divide both sides by 8 to get the h on its own, leaves you with h equals minus 3/4 or minus 0.75. 4 marks, quite a tricky question. Next one, question 17. It is a cubic graph. Let's have a look, see if that's going to zoom in for us. There you go. Complete the table. Well, there it is. Let's do this one. 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Take away 4 2s are 8, so 8 take 8 is 0. Just be a little careful of the negatives. This is where a lot of people trip up. Minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2 is minus 8. Because minus 2 times minus 2 is 4, but then times by minus 2 again makes it minus 8. So it's minus 8, take away, 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. So you've got a minus 8, take away minus 8, which leaves you with 0. It's quite a nasty little thing there, but that's why it's an A grade question. Sketch it on the graph, which is what I've done. Connect it up, don't use straight lines, try use a pencil, put proper crosses in, and just try and draw a nice smooth curve. I've gone a little bit wrong here, I shouldn't have gone out, but you get the idea. That should look more like going down there like that, I think. But anyway, something like that will be fine. That will get you the 4 marks. Question number 18. You've got an isosceles triangle. You know it's an isosceles triangle because it tells you at the very top. And it also, you also should know it because those two are 54 and they're the same, so that's going to make it isosceles. You need to work out the area of the triangle. You need to know off the top of your head that the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Sometimes we don't teach you this as much as we should do at GCSE because we assume you know it. But the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So let's look at our triangle to see what we can do. We know the base is 12. We don't know the height, and the height is from here to here. It's not the slopey height. It is from the base to the very tip. So what I've done is I've cut the triangle in half and I've redrawn it here. It's the same triangle. So I've taken this bit and it's here. So that's 54. That becomes 6 because it's halfway along. And I'm going to use trigonometry to work out x, as I've called it. I've labelled my sides up. Hypotenuse is a long one. There's opposite because it's opposite the angle. And there's the adjacent. And I'm interested in the opposite and I know the adjacent. So some old hags carry a huge tub of ale. So it's tan because it's opposite over adjacent. So tan 54 is x over 6 times both sides by 6. 6 times tan 54 is x. So x gives you 8.258, which is the height of it. Don't forget the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So there's your base, 12, there's your height, 8.258, divided by 2, and that gives you 49.548. It says give your answer to 3 significant figures, 49.5. I'll leave my workings there in case you want to have a look. There you go. Okay, next one, moving on. A bit of standard form, question 19. 7.8 times 10 to the minus 4. If it's to the minus, it means it's a really small number. I'll just zoom in case you can't see that is a minus 4. There you go. So you need to be moving this decimal point in this direction 4 times, okay? So what I've done here is, and I've checked it, decimal point was here, and it's gone once, twice, 3 times, 4. So I know that is the correct answer. Write this number in standard form. Well, it'd be 9.56 times 10 to the, let's have a look, shall we? 9.56 times 10 to the point goes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9.56 times 10 to the power 7. There you go. Next one, in a sale, this is reverse percentages, this next one, this is an A grade skill. In a sale, normal prices are reduced by 20%, so a washing machine has a sale price of £464. So it is already been reduced. Now, you can't add on 20% and get back to the normal price because it doesn't work like that. Think of if you had £100, if you add on 10%, it's 110. But then if you take off 10% of 110, which is 11, it actually goes down to 99. So in the same way, that £464 is 80%. This is what I've done. I found out what 10% of the whole price is because I divided by 8, both sides. Then I found out what 100% was, the original 100%, by timesing both sides by 10. It's £580. The question actually says, by how much is the normal price of the washing machine reduced? Well, it's 580, take away 464, which is £116. That's how much it's been reduced by there in my workings. Okay, factorise 4x squared, take 9. A lot of people when they factorise think, well, what is 4x squared and what has minus 9 got in common? So they might realise nothing, then they might try and do this. No, not quite. Because it's a sort of B plus A grade question, you've got to realise that 9 is a square number. So we're going to draw out our 2 brackets. Here we go. There. Right. Because it's got a coefficient of x squared, which is 4, we're going to go with 2x and 2x. Right. What times what is 9? It's 3, which means, and you'll get the hang of this, one of them's got to be negative and one of them's got to be positive. And if you multiply out these double brackets, you will find you will get 4x squared take 9, because you'll end up with minus 6x and positive 6x, and they'll cancel, leaving 4x squared take away 9. Check it out, you should be alright. Make m the subject of the formula. Here's my workings, I'll talk you through it. I've added 3m to both sides because I don't like having a negative, so that's what I've done. That gives you this here, g equals am, add 5, add 3m. I've taken off 5 from this side because I'm trying to get the m's on their own. So that leaves you with g take 5 equals am, add 3m. This is a trick, and this is where people, this is what people forget to do. What's common in am and 3m? M, and I'm going to factorise this. So I'm going to take m outside the brackets. So that gives you m brackets a add 3. If you multiply those out, you'll realise you'll get the same as what you had above. So now m, it's on its own. To get it, now m is in one place, I suppose. I can divide both sides by a add 3 to get m on its own, and that will leave me with g take 5 over a add 3 equals m. So that is my answer. So the A grade 1 there, trick is doing that a little bit of factorising here. It's not difficult, but you've got to spot that you've got to do it. Next page. Question 22. The diagram shows a trapezium. All measurements are in centimetres. The area of the trapezium is 351 centimetres squared. Show that 2x squared add x take 351 is 0. Okay, what I've done is work out the area of the whole lot. And let me try and explain this. So I've done 2x times x add 5, and I've added this little bit on here. That's meant to be a straighter line there than it comes across as. So like it's a rectangle. So 2x times x add 5 gives you 2x squared add 10x. What I've done then is worked out the area of this bit over here, and that is, because it's a triangle, it's half base, which is 9, times height, and the height is 2x. A half base times height is the same as doing base times height divided by 2. So a half times 9 times 2x gives you 9x. So the area of this bit here we're looking at is the area of the whole lot, which is 2x squared add 10x, take away the 9x, and that equals 351. Simplify this a little bit. Positive 10x minus 9x just goes down to x, equals 351. Let's get 351 on this side, because I want this side to equal 0, and that's what it comes to. 2x squared add x minus 351 equals 0, and that's what we've got here. Work out the value of x. This is asking you to factorise this expression. Factorising this, it will go into double brackets, is quite difficult, and I've got a little trick which I'm going to talk you through briefly here. Some of you might have other ways of doing it, which is fine. I work out what I call the sum and the product, and the sum is the coefficient of x in the middle, and that happens to be 1, because it's 1x. So sum is 1, and the product is that number, so 2 times 351, which is 702. Actually, it's minus, I suppose, 702. So better be right. Okay, so now I want two numbers that multiply together to make minus 701, but add together to make 1. So one of them is going to blatantly be negative, because it's going to make a negative, and they're going to be one number apart, because when they add up they've got to be 1. And I found that minus 26 and positive 27 multiplied make this, add up make 1. So you rewrite it, you take out your x you had before, and you do 2x squared, take away 26x, because that was a negative 1, add 27x minus 351. Now what you do is factorise the first bit. So what is common in 2x squared and 26x? Well, it's a 2x, and so 2x brackets x minus 13. That makes that, but I just factorised it. And you do the same thing for the last bit. What's common in 27x and 351? Well, it's 27, and it's obviously x, take away 13 times 27 is 351. So you rewrite it as, you notice these brackets are the same now, x take 13. So it's 2x, add 27, goes in there, and x take 13 goes in the second one. So you need to find out what the value of x is. It's going to be positive. So it is, well, it's either 13, because x take away 13. So this, for this bracket to equal 0, x must be 13. For this bracket to equal 0, it must be minus 13.5. So you can't have a value of x for this, which is minus 13.5, because it simply won't work. So x is 13. Very tricky question, that, I thought. Question 23. Stratified sample. There's 1,065 students, and it asks about the year 8 females. She's taken 120. So what you do is you work out what fraction the year 8 females take up. So the fraction is 134 out of the total, which is 1,065. You simply multiply that by 120, and then you round the answer to the nearest whole person. So the answer will be 15. And there's my answer of 15. Next one, volume of a tin. Okay, let me read this out to you, because it's quite a complicated question. The diagram shows a volume of a pet food tin in the shape of a cylinder, like they normally are. The large tin's got a radius of that and a height of that. They want to make a new size of tin with a radius of 5.8 centimetres. But it's going to have the same volume, so what's the height of the new tin? Work out the height of the tin you've got at the moment. And volume of a cylinder is pi times r squared, that's the area of the cross section, times h, times the height. So that's pi times 6.5 times 11.5 equals 1,526.42 centimetres cubed, because it's a volume, so it'd be cubed. The new tin. So the volume area, the old tin is this, by the way. That's what we just worked out. So we'll put a little box around that. So the new tin is going to be pi times, we're told the new radius is 5.8 times h. We don't know h, but we know the volume's the same, so it equals that. So we want to manipulate this to get h on its own. So what's happening to h? Well, it's being multiplied by pi times 5.8 squared. So we're going to divide by pi times 5.8 squared, and that should give you 14.44 centimetres. Correct to one decimal place, the question says, so 14.4 is your answer. I'll leave those workings there for you, if you want to pause it and have a look through. Question 25. Nasty one this, but let's work through. A and B are straight lines. Right, line A's got an equation, 2y equals 3x add 8, and line B goes through the points minus 1, 2, and 2, 8. Do the lines intersect? Intersect means do they cross? Any two lines on a two-dimensional grid will cross. The only exception is they will not cross if they're parallel. like train tracks, for example. So I've decided to look at the gradient of these lines. If you remember back to maybe year 8 or 9, y equals mx plus c. M was your gradient and c was what we call the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So we're looking at m. So y equals mx, something x, add c. I only want it for normal y, so what I've done, because it's giving you for 2y here, so I've halved everything. So y equals 1.5x, add 4. So the gradient of line A is 1.5. The gradient of line B is this, and this is how you work it out. Let's say you've got a grid, and I'll just draw you a little sketch here. Let's say that's a set of coordinates, and you've got a line that goes like this. You work out the gradient by taking the length of this line here divided by the length of this line here. So let's call that y and let's call that x. You work out the gradient by doing y divided by x. So this is what I've done here. You've got the coordinates. So how far does 8 go down to 2 on the y-axis? So that goes down 6. So it is 6 divided by, and it goes back this way from 2 to minus 1. So it goes back 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the gradient is 2. So because the gradient is different, the lines are not parallel, so by definition they must cross at some stage. Next one, bit of a sine rule one. There's a few ways of working this out. I'm going to explain the way I've worked it out. You need to find length LN here. What I've started doing, to start off with, I've found angle L, because I noticed I can use, and I've labelled my sides A, B and C here. You don't have to label them like this, but I chose to. You've got sine B over B, we know what that is, and we've got sine A, which we don't know what it is yet, because I've worked that out, but we know what A is. So this is how you write it out. Sine 130, so blah blah blah. So you want to get sine A on its own. So I've worked out, I don't know why I've worked this out first, but I worked that out and kept that horrible decimal number. So then I get sine A on its own by multiplying by 12.8, which I've done there. So 0.566. I'm not sure why I've done it like this, but you still get the right answer. So sine A gives you 34.5 degrees. So angle L up here is 34.5 degrees. By definition, that makes this angle here 9.5 degrees, because there are 180 degrees in a triangle. All I've done now is use the sine rule again, but this time I've used B over sine B again, but then I'm using B over sine B, then I'm using C, which is what we're trying to find, over sine C, because it's 9.5. So let me show you that down here. Work yourself through the workings, get C on its own, so you multiply by sine 9.5, which gives you this, and you work it out and you get 3.73. And it says, give your answer correct to 3 significant figures, so that is 3.73, 5 marks. That's a tricky question, but it is just using the sine rule. It's just spotting where you should use it and how. Question 27, I think we're on now. I think we're very near the end, actually. Yeah, very near the end. Histograms. What percentage of the passengers had to wait for more than 1 hour? Okay, here's a histogram. So you need to know how many passengers there are. You don't know this. We're going to work it out. Frequency density is the time in minutes multiplied, the frequency, sorry, how many people are here, is the frequency density, which is 12 multiplied by 20. So as you can see, I've done this for all of them. So that's 240 for the first one. Next one, it's 108. Then it's 105. I made a small mistake there. Then it's 75, 54, and 18. So I've added that lot up, and that gave me 600 people in total. What percentage had to wait for more than 1 hour? Well, hang on, here's 1 hour, and anything this side is more of it. So that is 54 add 18, which gives you 72. So 72 out of the 600 had to wait for longer than an hour, which is 12%. Because that's a fraction, just do it on your calculator and get it as a decimal and times it by 100, 12%. Last question, bit of proof work here. Here is a circle with some points. AOC and BOD are diameters. So this line here and this line here are the diameters, and that must be the circle, that means. Prove that triangle ABD, so that's ABD, and BOD, and DCA are congruent. So let's have it. Congruent means the same size. So let's see what we can do. Length BD and AC are the same. They equal each other because BD and AC, because they are both the diameter of the circle. So you hopefully see that. They share line AD, so that means that that is the same. And also angle ABD and ACD, which is this one and this one, must be the same because they are subtended from AD. So this angle here and this angle here, because of the way the diameters work, they're subtended from this straight line. They are the same. So I've given the reason why two sides are the same there and one of the angles, and that will be enough to give you 3 marks. I hope you did well. Quite a tricky one, that. Hopefully we'll try and get a new video up soon. Any questions, please leave a comment, and if I get time, I'll get back to it.